And we have had quite a Holy Week here at Manchester United Methodist Church. On Thursday, we had a wonderful Maundy Thursday service, and I hope a number of you were able to be here for that. It came complete with Holy Communion, hand washing, foot washing, and a living Last Supper that was absolutely extraordinary. On Good Friday, we had two services, one at noon and one at 7, and there were people at the noon service who had every intention of coming back at 7 o'clock. This has been a wonderful experience. No one would have felt the need to jump from Palm Sunday to Easter Sunday. So that's Maundy Thursday, which we're familiar with, and Good Friday, and here we are in Holy Saturday. What's that? Holy Saturday. We don't tend to be as familiar with Holy Saturday, and that's okay. That's all right. Maundy Thursday, we're familiar with. Good Friday, yes, we know what that is. Holy Saturday is something that we tend to skip over, and that's easy to do. Even for those who really honor Holy Week. Saturday seems to be a time better spent preparing for Easter Sunday. If I'm having people to my house for Easter Sunday, I need to make sure the yard looks good. I need to clean the house. I need to make sure I've got the groceries purchased. I might even start some of the cooking. I need to think about what I'm going to wear and make sure that's ready to go for tomorrow morning. It's really hard once you get through Good Friday to hold Easter at bay until Sunday. Just look at our sanctuary. This is Holy Saturday, but you wouldn't know it by looking around here, and we already took some stuff off of the chancel table. Not that I want that to change. We are going to enter into Easter Sunday before we leave here. These things are beautiful, and we're so glad they're here. But it's Holy Saturday, and the sanctuary is decorated for Easter. On Maundy Thursday and Good Friday, we come to those services to remember what happened on those days, and to be moved by those services. But Holy Saturday, I mean, come on, what happened? What happened on Holy Saturday, really? What is it that we need to think about or worship about? And I mean, for heaven's sakes, it was just one day. Yes, people were upset. Yes, Jesus was executed, but it was one day. How important can it be? See, we look through our New Testament lenses. We know how the story turns out, and that's why it's almost impossible to keep Easter at bay until Sunday. We can't wait. We've been through the pain of Maundy Thursday and the pain of Good Friday, and we're just ready for Easter, but we can't get there without going through Holy Saturday. So I was thinking that maybe what we could do is rather than struggle with it, we could look at it a different way to understand Holy Saturday better, to try and understand what some of those disciples were going through. Because I know that a number of you sitting in the sanctuary this evening are going through your own personal Holy Saturdays right now. Not the Holy Saturday connected to Holy Week, your own personal Holy Saturdays. Holy Saturday followed the devastating news of the crucifixion. Our personal Holy Saturdays follow devastating news. The longer we live, the more personal Holy Saturdays we're going to experience. You have a better idea of what the disciples were feeling than you know. Our personal Holy Saturdays might start out something like this. You haven't been feeling well, so you go to the doctor and you get some tests run. And you go back to the doctor to find out the results, and the doctor walks into the office, and first words out of her mouth, "I'm so sorry. Your test results are not good. This is not what we wanted to see." Maybe you've worked in a particular company for a number of years, and you're a good worker. You do what you do well. The company's been having some financial difficulties, but you never thought it would affect you. And one day your supervisor walks into your office and says, "We've done everything we can to avoid this. I am so sorry. We have to let you go. You need to pack your things today." Or maybe it's this. Maybe your spouse, who you've been married to, it doesn't matter how many years, comes to you and says, "I don't love you anymore. I don't want to be in this marriage anymore. I want a divorce." Or maybe it's that phone call in the middle of the night that as you go to answer it, your heart is racing and you don't even want to hear what's on the other end of the line. Someone you love has been in a serious accident. Someone you love has been taken to the hospital. Someone you love has died. And in the moment that you get this news, it's as if the foundation of your life has just dissolved underneath you and you're in a free fall. And the natural reaction is denial and yelling, "God, please wake me up from this terrible dream. This can't be happening." And then you land when the shock is finally through. And you realize you're grieving. You're grieving and you are in a very, very dark valley. You can't see the future. You know you have to put one foot in front of another, but you cannot see the future and you do not know how long this valley will go on. Will the chemo be effective? Will I find a job before I go through my savings and my retirement? Will I ever be loved again? Will I ever smile again? Will I ever laugh again? Will I ever feel joy again? In the gospel that you just heard read, we hear about Joseph of Arimathea, who was a disciple of Jesus, and Nicodemus, who had at first come to Jesus by night. And they came together, bringing a mixture of myrrh and aloes weighing about 100 pounds, and they took the body of Jesus and wrapped it with the spices in linen cloths according to the burial customs of the Jews. And they put Jesus in a new tomb that had never been used before. These men were in Holy Saturday. These men were grieving. These men were in a very, very dark valley. They could not see the future. They had no idea how long the valley would be. See, we look at Holy Week through New Testament lenses. We know how the story turns out. And through those New Testament lenses, we can look back over everything that leads up to this moment, and we can see the presence of God all over it. But in the midst of the dark valley, and you know this as well, it is very, very difficult to sense the presence of God. I think that one of the things that we can do to really honor Holy Saturday is to really consider the last personal Holy Saturday you've gone through. If you're in the middle of one right now, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a personal Holy Saturday where you have gotten through the entire dark valley and have come out at the other end in the light, and maybe it took years. But when you come out at the other end and you are smiling again and you are able to feel joy again, that is the time when you can look back over that very difficult time you went through in a very prayerful way and start to see where God was with you all along the way. Many of you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's very difficult to experience the presence of God in the midst of grief, but when you're through it and you look back, God is all over it. And at that time, we need to find a way to thank God for getting us through one of the most difficult times in our life. And remember that God is with us in those difficult times. The most devastating news I have ever received, the most difficult time I have ever experienced, revolved around my divorce. To this day, I have never experienced anything as painful as that. At that time, I was in a very dark valley. I had no idea what the future held, and I had no idea how long I would be in this very dark place. A few years ago, I got through it. I came out into the light. It was an amazing thing. And at that time, I was able to look back over that entire experience, and God was absolutely all over it. How do you thank God for that? How do you thank God for getting you through the most devastating experience of your life? God did not cause my divorce to happen. God did not keep my divorce from happening, but God was with me, even when I couldn't sense it. We are children of God, and we are disciples of Jesus Christ. And we do know what Holy Saturday feels like. We do know what it is to be devastated. And the longer you live, the more opportunities you have to go through valleys. We know what it is to feel the foundation dissolve underneath us and go into what feels like a free fall. We know what that feels like. We know what it is to grieve. We know what it is to be in a dark valley with no ability to see the future and no sense of how long this valley will go on. We do know what those disciples were feeling on Holy Saturday, better than we think. But more importantly, we know that no matter how many dark valleys we have been through, and no matter how many more we have yet to experience, we have never, ever been alone in that dark place. And we never, ever will be. Thanks be to God. Amen.